Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back. I am on a field trip, obviously, to Van Winden's Garden Center. And this right here is Aileen. She's one of the managers at the Garden Center. And she is the one that I talked to about my Matilaha poppy ordeal. And she's the one that helped save that and reserve it and put it on hold for me. So we have been talking, and Aileen had a couple of suggestions for me when I came to pick the poppy out, and that is what brought about this video. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so the story is you put the Matilaha poppy on hold,
Yes.
which is great.
Yes.
And I think, you know, people who put plants on hold deserve the best. So when the Matilaha poppies come in, we had, I think, 15 of them. There was a best. It was the best rooted. It was the biggest. It had little buds on it. And I pulled that one for Janie. And when she came in, she was like, "Oh, I'll just grab some from stock." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And you ended up getting two.
I got
so that kind of made sense.
Yeah.
And then we walked up to them in stock, and Janie grabbed the two in front, which in a way makes sense.
I just grabbed the first two that were there that I saw. And what did you think when I did that?
One of them that you grabbed was like a little bit leaning.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, well, that's not the one I would recommend. It's not that it won't work. It's just, you know, not the best in the bunch.
Right.
And so I thought maybe we could do a fun video where I explain some like tips of how to be a really savvy garden center shopper.
Yeah. And you were very nice about it. You were not making fun, maybe making fun of me a little bit. But, so it's just the type of thing that, you know, I think we've all kind of heard about choosing the best plant. You know, when you go to an independent garden center like this, you guys are here to help us, right? You're here to help. You guys have so much information, so much knowledge.
We're here for the passion. No one's working at a garden center to get rich.
True.
You know?
True.
Like, we're here because we love plants and we don't work on commission, so let us help you.
Yeah. So Aileen said that she would give us a little bit of insider tips for kind of how to be a savvy shopper at a garden center. And as soon as she said that and floated that by me, it was like, yes, please, because we all need this. Even if we've heard these things a little bit once before, it's great to hear it again, and it's great to hear it from someone like Aileen who does have the passion and the knowledge. All right?
Absolutely.
So let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right, so give us tip number one, Aileen. What would you say if you came and saw these beautiful, beautiful Russian sage?
All right, if you come across these are all looking nice, and you need to buy one, right?
Right.
So they're all relatively equal, but there is going to be one that's better.
Okay.
What you can do when you come up to plants is you can pick one up and you can kind of give it a wiggle first.
All
And
right.
if it's really wiggly, that might be a sign of problem. This one is a little bit wiggly, but this is also kind of a floppy plant. It's general habit.
Right.
So you can also kind of squeeze the can.
Okay.
If
What are you looking for?
If it feels really firm, it's going to be full of roots.
Oh.
And if it's really squishy, like this one's pretty soft. You can kind of see we're squeezing a little bit.
Right.
That one has a root coming out the
Yeah,
bottom.
I was going to say, look, we've got some over here. So it's probably a good sign, right?
The last thing you can do, and I don't recommend doing this unless you're practiced, like maybe practice at home first.
Okay.
You can tip it out of its can.
Okay.
So the way you would do that is you would put your hand kind of over the plant to support the top, and you would tip it upside down and squeeze a little bit.
To get a good look at the root system.
And those are beautiful roots.
Those are.
You know these are beautiful because they still have lots of color. They're not black or brown. They're kind of a nice white or a tan.
Okay.
They're all the way around, but it's not so many roots that would be considered root bound.
Okay.
So tip number two would be there are certain plants at garden centers where you can actually get 2 or maybe even more plants out of one container.
Okay.
So this
2 for the price of 1.
daylily is a great example. This is a 2-gallon container size. This is a fabulous daylily called Big Red that has flowers that get almost 6 feet tall.
Oh my goodness.
Super fun.
Wow.
So this is priced at $24.99. So when you get home, you can basically cut this plant in half. This has a big happy root ball. If you were to separate it, probably right there.
Okay. How would you cut it? Like just like one of those saw things?
Depends on how strong you are. Some people can just kind of rip it apart. You
Okay.
can also use, one of my favorite tools in the garden would be like a bread knife, a serrated knife.
Oh, interesting.
Of course, a hori-hori can work too if you have one of those. But yeah, you can definitely get 2 plants out of this. You definitely, if you do that, want to baby the plant a bit.
Okay.
You don't want to do this in the middle of a heat wave. You don't want to do this in the middle of, you know, a rainstorm where the ground's super soggy, because that's going to kind of stress out the plant, and you don't want to do that.
Because you're already stressing it out a bit. Yeah.
So you want to let it recover a bit, and then give it some starter fertilizer.
Oh.
Get those roots going.
Okay. What kind of starter fertilizer do you guys use here?
We love Master Nursery Master Start.
Okay. I'll have to look at that before I leave. Okay, so if I was to come up here and I knew I wanted one of these daylilies, I could get double bang for my buck by checking out one that was like this, right?
Yeah.
That I could divide, as opposed to one over here, which of course these are cheaper. Maybe a smaller one that I couldn't divide as easily. Is that right?
Yeah, you could buy 2 1-gallons. It would be easier. It would be the exact same price as buying this one. But you can see these are more established. They have bigger root systems. So you're actually going to get a head start if you do it this way.
Nice.
It's a little bit of an advanced gardening move.
Right.
But it's totally something that you're capable of.
That's a good tip. That's perfect. So same price as these two, but you get bigger plants for that one. Good tip, Aileen. Thanks.
This is our bedding department. This is where we have all of our 4-inch and 6-packs and some of the more floriferous, beautiful things. So this is a great place to start when you come to the garden center.
This is my favorite department, by the way. So what tips do you have for us over here?
So if you are gardening, you know, you're doing a big project, the budget can kind of balloon up and up and up. A good way to save some money would be to use 6-packs instead of 4-inch.
Okay.
So an example here, these are absolutely gorgeous primroses called Danessa Apricot Rose Eye.
Ooh.
This sort of plant is most commonly sold in 4-inch.
Yes.
And this costs the same, 6 plants, as 1 4-inch plant.
Interesting.
This is probably 3 weeks behind as far as the plant size.
That's it?
Yeah. So
I had no idea.
Do you save so much money?
Oh my goodness, I had no idea. I was thinking it was longer than that, but I guess
it can be longer depending on the plant, depending on how warm the soil temperature is.
Okay.
But this time of year, yeah, about 3 weeks.
Okay, that's very good to know, because I like to buy primrose a lot, and I always get the 4-inch ones.
Yeah,
so.
and pro tip, these are great in the wintertime in full shade. They'll give you flowers.
Full shade.
Like full shade. And I should say, this is Napa information.
Right.
It's possible it's different depending on where people live.
Right. You guys are zone 9 still here?
We're zone 9. I have a little bit of a qualm with like the USDA zones because like Florida is zone 9.
I know.
They're growing bananas there.
We
We're not
talk
growing
about
bananas
we
here.
talk about it all the time. So what sunset zone are you?
14.
Us too. That's funny. That's perfect. Okay, so it is fall, and the classic fall plant is a mum, correct?
Exactly.
What tip do you have for us for mums, or any other type of flowering plant?
Okay, so in general, my tip would be, if you're gonna go for something like a mum, don't go for the mum that is looking perfect today.
Okay.
Go for the mum that is covered in buds that's going to look perfect once you get it planted. The caveat there would be, maybe you have an event this weekend. You need it to look amazing. This would be a good choice. You know, this is your instant gratification. Just know, this is peaking right now. The show is just going to decline. This show is not started yet. Like, we're getting ready for a big old show on this guy.
So you will have so much more beauty time with this one than this one, because this one has been beautiful at the garden center, right, for a while. But this one will be beautiful in your home for a much longer amount of time. Is that right?
So here's a tip about vegetables for you. Certain plants like lettuces have really tough root systems. So you can take this 6-pack and put each plug in your garden and kind of get baby leaf lettuce. You can, though, also take out the little plug, soak it in water, tease apart all those little roots, and you have 100 lettuce plants in a 6-pack.
What? Excuse me?
I know.
Oh my goodness, you're kidding.
Some plants you do have to be really gentle with the roots, but other ones you can be pretty tough. Like onions, you can just cut the roots if you need to.
Wow.
We do that in the garden center every once in a while, so they look like they're in cute little bundles.
Very cute. So what's an example of one that you have to be careful? Would it be like carrots?
Carrots are a great example.
Okay.
Yeah, carrots. Well, so Peter Van Winden, who started this place, he recently passed. He was in his
Yes.
90s. He was 94.
Very recently, right?
One of the funniest things that I ever heard him say is he walked through this aisle maybe like 3 years ago, and he like startled, and he was like, "A 6-pack of carrots? Boy, now I've seen everything."
Okay.
I totally understand why people want 6-packs of carrots, because
Right.
it's easier sounding and it's
Right.
convenient.
But it's not going to do well.
It's probably not going to do as well.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So say, like, I'm not the best at vegetables. Like, I'm going to be honest. I'm not the best. If I was to come to a place like this and I saw someone like you and I could say, hey, I need help. What do I do?
Okay, so that's another great tip is family-owned garden centers like this, or even just locally owned. The staff here is amazing. Like, I can tell you all sorts of stuff about vegetables and everything else. There's people here like Andy who works in this department who's been here almost 15 years.
Okay.
She knows everything. She can help you. She's living and breathing this life.
So ask the question.
Yes.
Don't be afraid you're not bothering anybody.
Yeah.
You need to ask the question. 'Cause
Definitely
that's what
ask
you
the
guys are
question.
here for, right?
Yeah. I mean, in springtime it can get really crazy.
Right.
Maybe not the right time to pick our brains.
Right.
But every other time of the year, we're so happy to help people with their projects.
That's fantastic. That is really great.
Okay, so here's a really good tip for you. So in Napa and lots of other places, there's a whole bunch of seeds that you can plant where you scatter them around in the fall, and then that's it.
What?
They just take care of themselves after that.
Excuse me?
I know. So
Which
something
one?
like California poppy, right?
Uh-huh.
It's kind of an obvious one.
Right. Yes.
Classic would be like the orange color, but did you know they come in like pink
Yeah,
and
but-
white?
Put that in my basket, please.
Okay, we'll do that.
Beautiful.
This is something that nature's just going to take care of for you. So you can scatter it around in a sandy place, scratch it in,
Right.
and then if we get rain, these are going to come up in the spring.
Oh my goodness.
Same thing goes for sweet peas here.
Yes. I
And
love
these
sweet
smell
peas.
like a dream in the spring.
So you can just scatter sweet peas around?
You can scratch them in.
Oh my
Yep,
goodness.
yep. Nasturtiums,
Oh my goodness.
that will work also. Nigella,
Yes.
if you're familiar.
My neighbor had that.
Practically a weed, but like
Yes,
the prettiest weed.
but so beautiful, even dried.
Bells of Ireland,
I love it.
Drama,
Oh my goodness.
lupin, of course.
Yep.
This is not a native lupin, but that one will work. And then if you love the monarch
Milkweed.
butterflies, this is
Yep.
a great time of year to plant milkweed seeds.
Okay.
And truly, you can almost mess it up by watering them when you first plant them, because
Oh.
then if the rain doesn't follow, the seed starts to germinate and gets stalled out without the extra water afterwards.
Okay.
So truly, just let nature take care of it.
So literally all of these, you just spread them.
Spread them, scratch them in maybe a little bit, and just wait for spring.
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. So what do we have here, Aileen?
This is called the information station.
Okay.
Someone like me sits here and hangs out, and we are happy to answer all questions.
Okay.
We get excited when you bring us bugs to ID.
So bring you a bug. Or bring
Absolutely.
you a plant, maybe in a bag, sealed.
I mean, you can do that. We're not scared though.
Oh my goodness.
People bring us in pieces of plants they need ID'd, or pieces of plants that have pests on them.
Okay.
We usually ask, bring us more than a single leaf,
Okay.
or like a partial leaf, and then bring pictures of your plant also.
Okay.
But on Instagram, our Instagram channel, we have a little thing we do called Just Walked Into the Shop.
Oh, very nice.
This time of year, a lot of people are bringing in apples with worms. That's the coddling moth. So
Okay.
we're going over how to deal with that. And lots of scale insect and spittlebug this year seems to be pretty bad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So not just Van Winden's, right? But pretty much any independent garden center, you can bring in something you're having trouble with, right? And show it to the staff, and the staff will be there to help you.
Yes.
That's what you guys are here for.
And we'll hold your hand as we
Take you through.
recommend what product you need to help your situation.
Which is fantastic. So we need to use you guys.
Yes.
We need to use
We're
your
so
brains.
happy to help.
Yeah, like you said, you get excited about it.
All right, so the next tip would be some plants, it just makes sense to buy them small.
Okay.
In the case of lavender, this is a short-lived perennial. You're probably going to get 5 to 7 good years out of this.
Okay.
And good years if you prune it back right, which a lot of people struggle to do. So a lot of people ask for 5-gallon lavender, and you can do that, but just know that you're losing a couple years. You have to dig a way bigger hole. Lavender grows so fast, especially when you use starter fertilizer and you have a good soil you're planting into. So 1 gallon or even 4 inches is a great way to go for almost all plants.
Oh, interesting. All right, so you're saying it's better to spend less money and buy the smaller plant than it is to buy the big one.
Yeah, especially if you're rich in time.
Okay, which not all of us are, but I can see that, right? I've actually had to pull out lavenders once they've reached, they've gotten super woody. They weren't pruned properly, I will say that. But that's interesting. That's interesting to think about lavender. Are there any other plants like this that you can think of?
A really classic one would be like rock rose, cistus. People all the time come in asking for 5 or 10 gallon cistus. You can get it maybe somewhere, but absolutely not worth the money in my opinion.
Right. And it's going to be hard for you to say that to somebody if they have their heart set on a 5 gallon. But you can say it here on the video as a savvy shopper tip.
All right, so here at Van Winden's, we have a huge selection of citrus.
I can see.
Here we have some variegated calamondins that are blooming so nicely. It smells like a dream.
Beautiful.
So some tips for garden center shopping for citrus. Take a look down here with me and check out the trunks.
Okay.
That is a really gorgeous caliper, nice and thick. Sometimes at other garden places, you'll see skinny little trunks where they're strapped, like tied, just hold it on.
Yep.
That's not ideal.
Okay.
You really want something that's getting close to standing on its own. Like, look at this one.
Yep.
It has a stake,
But it's barely,
really just like
it's not even being used.
Look how happy that is.
Yeah.
The other thing you want to look at would be the graft. Almost all citrus is going to be grafted.
Okay.
This is the graft mark here. You can see there's some growth coming out, and that's not really ideal. In this case, it is actually okay because this leaf matches this leaf.
Okay.
But every once in a while, the root stock will send out a sucker right there. That's not good. It's going to suck energy from this graft, or I should say from this bud.
Okay.
So we usually take them off, and it's usually as easy as just like bending them off.
Okay.
Like that.
Easy. Okay, so Aileen just told me you will never find a citrus tree as a bare root, right? And why is that?
They just have really tender roots. It's kind of a different type of fruit tree than the ones that lose their leaves in the winter.
Okay.
Bare root fruit tree season here is January.
Okay.
It is the absolute best time to get a fruit tree.
Okay.
If you
so
can
like
do it that way.
Peach, nectarine,
Cherry, apple, jujube, persimmon.
Nice. So coming in January, if you live kind of similar in our similar climate, coming in January and getting a bare root fruit tree is better than getting...
So much better.
Okay.
With bare root fruit trees, what you're really paying for is the root structure.
Okay.
And that's not really like the sexy part of the tree, right?
Right.
But that is the part that is going to give you dividends as far as a happy tree up above ground.
Okay.
So the way we do it here, it's the old-fashioned way. We don't prune the roots. So when we sell you a bare root fruit tree, we pop it out of the ground. It's a big kind of broom-shaped structure of roots. We wrap it in wet newspaper, and you look like a witch walking out of here, like you're in Harry Potter.
A witch in January.
You know, if you buy a fruit tree that's in a pot, the root system is often about this wide. To fit in a 5-gallon container, they have to chop off like 50% of the roots.
Okay.
And the tree will survive. It's just not going to thrive.
Okay. All right. I will be back in January for some fruit trees, for some bare root fruit trees.
Great.
Okay, I have to say, I've learned more in half an hour than I have in like 3 months. So thank you so much. Can I come back? Can you help us?
You're absolutely welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. So many good tips from the source. I really appreciate you having us, and I appreciate Van Winden's having me as well.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.